Welcome to Across the Curve.
When you line up safety, leadership, and excellence, that opens the door for lots of guests. And I personally feel that, there can't be a more valiant effort in the world than to protect and save lives. We hope the time that you spend with us will help you to understand how the future of work is shifting and what we can expect the workplace to look like in the coming years. Our guest today is Elliot Massey. Our guest today is Michael Yaffe. Angel is the VP of Global Human Resources at Atkore Incorporated. Don is an executive safety and risk management professional with 4 decades of experience. Chester has been called the Apostle of Appreciation by Canada's Globe and Mail. Derek is an Emmy award-winning writer, producer, director, and actor. We hope the time you spend with us will help you to understand how storytelling is a key to learning.
Boy, storytelling is a wonderful topic, and let's explore the story.
Welcome to Across the Curve with Craig Sexton. Sponsored by DSS Plus, transforming business results through the development of a safe, efficient, and capable workforce. DSS Plus, protect, transform, sustain. Your host today has over 3 decades of experience in the entertainment industry from Los Angeles to New York. He is an award-winning writer, producer, and director. He has been recognized for his extensive work around the affective approach and communicating from the heart. He brings his talents to bear at DSS Plus with breakthroughs in communication, employee engagement, and culture transformation. He is everybody's best friend and soon to be yours, Craig Sexton.
Welcome to Across the Curve podcast. I am Craig Sexton, the Global Creative Director at DSS Plus. We hope the time you spend with us today will help you to understand talent selection excellence and diversity, equity, and inclusion as we discuss these topics with our guest today. But first, as we always do, let's say hello to our producer extraordinaire. Hey, Jay, how are you?
Hey, buddy, what is happening today?
Well, I'm feeling pretty doggone good.
Let me just go ahead and point out purple and gold is my favorite paisley. That's, as an LSU boy, that's my 2 favorite colors, and you just thrown them together in a beautiful mix of manliness right there on your shirt. I love it.
I'm not so sure about
that.
And
you did the yellow glasses to pull it all together, man. This is your finest work yet.
It's kind of like dressing. It's like Garanimals for adults, right? You have to have everything matching. Even down to the watch band. What can I say? I can't help myself sometimes.
Hey, I love it. You do it well.
Yeah.
Anything worth doing is worth doing right.
And that's what I say. Well, today we're going to be talking, to one of the leaders, one of the top people in human resources. And, just when I hear those words, Jay, what do you think about when you hear human resources?
Well, I think human resources is pretty much the principal's office for adults. So I just don't want to go there. Like, I'm going to try to stay home. It stands for HR because it's going to be at least an hour. Like, I think that's it's going to be an hour out of your day
When you get called to HR.
And when you get called there, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Every time I get called to HR, I just think, oh, gosh, what have I done? I know it's not good, but I think we're going to get a totally different perspective on human resources today because our guest is extraordinary. And speaking of our guest, today she is Miss Angel Lowe. Angel is the VP of Global Human Resources at Atkore Incorporated. Now, Atkore is a global manufacturer with over 4,000 employees worldwide. And to celebrate their diverse and inclusive workplace culture, DSS Plus produced a video featuring several Atkore team members sharing their heartfelt thoughts on what it means to be respected, appreciated, and valued at work. As individuals and as a team, Atkore is building better together. And that's what we're going to be talking about today with one of my favorite people on the planet, Angel Lowe. Angel, welcome to the show. We're delighted to have you on the podcast.
Thank you, Craig. I'm so happy to be here. And I'll start with saying if I had known, I would have worn purple and gold for you today, Jay, but it would have hurt because I am not a Tiger fan.
Ooh, let's go.
Just saying.
Yeah, let's go ahead and find out where are your loyalties at there, Angel.
My loyalties are in Mississippi, so I have two. I have the University of Mississippi, so go Rebels, and then I have Texas Tech. That's my most recent loyalty. My youngest son goes there, so wreck 'em Raiders.
There you go.
I'll just say at least they're all in the SEC, so we can say go SEC.
Well, Texas Tech is Big 12. That was a little bit of a change for me. Big
You
SEC
said
fan.
Sorry, you said Texas.
Texas Tech, yeah. Texas Tech is Big 12, so wreck 'em Raiders, but big Raiders fan.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, good. Well, hey, Angel, look, since our time's limited today, I want to jump right in because I've got so much to talk to you about. And I think our audience is really going to find it interesting. But before we get started, can you just tell us a little bit about Atkore and how you became part of their team?
Sure, I would love to. So, Atkore is a phenomenal company. It is a publicly traded company, and we really focus on two major business segments: electrical products, and then there's safety and infrastructure. Electrical products, when you think about electrical products, think about any products involved in deploying, isolating, and protecting electricity from the power source to the outlet.
Sure.
And when you think of safety and infrastructure, think of products such as solar panels, steel tubes, the steel tubes that go into playgrounds, for example, in your municipalities, razor wire, bollards. Is another form of security. And that's really a large part of what we do.
Well, you guys are involved on a lot of things and on a worldwide scale. Like, where are you located at? I mean, you're literally around the globe.
We are located definitely North America, being US and Canada. And then we are also in EMEA and APAC. So we are a global company with a global footprint.
Well, excellent. Thanks for that little bit of laying the foundation for who and what you do. You didn't get to how you became part of the team.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I was listening to you and Jay, and my heart was breaking when I have people think about HR as a principal's office, right? Because that is not what we are. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yes.
I like to think of HR as the exact opposite of a principal's office. But the way I came to Atkore is a call from a recruiter one day. And that recruiter was telling me about an opportunity with a company and really talking about the culture of the company and what the company was trying to build as a culture. And it was a culture of engagement and alignment. And the recruiter was telling me about the company's business system. And there were three fundamentals within this business system: people, process, and strategy. Those were the three fundamentals. Well, for a people person, an HR person, I was like extremely excited. If you think about something we learned, Craig, you and I together when we had a business conference and Chester Elton was there, the wow moment is when you have a company that has a people as a fundamental. And so it was really, really important to me. And when I started researching Atkore and I met with the leadership team at Atkore, it was very clear that Atkore truly believes our people are our greatest asset. And without people, we have nothing. So it was really a focus on people. And that's what attracted me to Atkore in 2014. I've been here 8 years now.
Wow, that's fantastic. Look, I just want to be transparent about this, Angel. So in all transparency, DSS Plus has been working with Atkore over the past several years around safety culture transformation, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and even partnering with you, what you were referring to in your annual business conference. And I have to tell you, what I was most impressed with, and I don't really know how to describe it other than to say excellence was the word that keeps coming to me when all of your leaders were gathered at that conference, right? I mean, it just really was this room of excellence, embodied in your people. So I'm just going to ask you kind of an ambiguous question, like, how do you do that? Like, how do you recruit for excellence?
Well, we definitely have a very distinct culture, and it's one of engagement and alignment. And so it's very important for us that our employees are engaged and they're aligned. And to be engaged, it means that you are staying focused on being a standout leader. You're striving for breakthrough results, and you're supporting the decisions of the leadership team after robust debate. And the reason I bring up the robust debate is because we are a continuous improvement company. And it is very, very important that all of our employees know that they are to challenge the status quo, and we are to always look to continuously improve. So we have debate, but once the decision is made, you should support that decision. And if you do those things, you're engaged. And then in alignment, it means that we live our Atkore mission and values. We learn our strategic priorities, and then we link our individual goals to those strategic priorities. So we're all moving in the same direction. If you think about a crew team, that's the best visual of engagement and alignment, right? You have a crew team, they're all rowing in the right direction, in the same direction. They get to their destination very quickly. Sure. But if one person rows differently, then they can spin in circles. So we have a culture of engagement and alignment. And when we look for talent, we have a very robust talent selection process. And when we go and look for talent, we do look for individuals who have those leadership characteristics, who have humility characteristics, who really want to jump on board, high performing, drive for results, and really have a commitment to become engaged and aligned. And then most importantly, live our Atkore values. We have 5 core values of accountability, teamwork, respect, and excellence. And we really look for individuals who want to work and grow in that environment.
Wow, that's a great description. One thing that you said there that kind of jumps out at me, which you don't hear a lot of companies talk about, especially when they're looking for high performers, people that are, typically, very goal oriented or aggressive or go-getters. But I've heard your CEO, again, another one of my favorite people, Bill Waltz, right? And whenever he talks about leadership, he almost never says that word without leading with the word humility or following it up with the word humility. So tell me, how does that play a role in that? Because clearly it's something that's really important to Bill. I'm assuming that it's really important to you as leading the human resource department there. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so really, when we think about building organizational capability, right, or strength or excellence, we think about unlocking the potential of our employees. And that is allowing all of our employees to bring their unique individual selves to work. And we hear their voice and then grow their potential, right? And help them maximize or unlock their individual potential. And that in turn will unlock our organizational potential. And it's a very, very big focus for us. But one way, a major way to allow employees to be their true selves and unlock their potential is to allow them to be a part of the design, the decision-making process, and the decisions that are made. And we do that through collaboration. We are a very collaborative organization. And in order to be collaborative, you have to have humility. You have to understand as an individual, you're not the smartest person in the room. You'll never be the smartest person in the room. And a group of heads coming up with ideas and making decisions is far better than just one. But in order to be able to hear other people's voices and give them the opportunity to have opinions and make decisions, you have to have humility, and you have to understand it's a team. It's teamwork.
Wow, that's really, really interesting. I like that whole strategy. Let me talk to you a little bit about this. Angel, Now more than ever, company
Mhm.
leaders, internal communication teams, and HR professionals are faced with the challenge of communicating the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion in their workplace. How has Adcore addressed these challenges?
Well, that's a great question, and you're right. It is a very big focus. I'm happy to say that at Atcore, we have been focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion from 2014 to today. So
Wow.
it's not something new for us. It's not something that just we just decided to, oh, it's important today, so let's go do it. I think one of the things you'll learn about Atcore is we are not a flavor of the month or a flavor of the day or a trendy organization. We are an organization that understands what's needed to be done, and we do things for the right reason. So we do it because it's the right thing to do. So we have a couple of ways to answer your question. We have an internal communications process, and we call it our 4 C's. And that is content. Is the content the correct content? Consistency. Is the messaging consistent no matter who you hear it from? Is it the same message as if it's coming from
Right.
the same person, right?
Sure.
Then there is cadence, and that's the ways and the approach and the timing in terms of when we're going to communicate, how, whether it be town halls or all hand meetings. And then there's carry. And that is, as a leader in the organization, we're responsible to take those messages and carry them down and across through our organization. And so we really depend heavily on our communications team and in driving the 4 C's across the organization. From a diversity, equity, and inclusion standpoint, we have a DEI roadmap, and that's a roadmap that was
Right.
developed in 2014. And then we continue to grow that roadmap as we evolve and progress as a company throughout our diversity, equity, and inclusion journey. We have a resource group, a team, a cross-functional team across Atcore of individuals who really drive that diversity, equity, and inclusion roadmap. And as you can imagine, with anything, we started early on in 2014 creating awareness around diversity, equity, and inclusion with a really intense focus on awareness. And then we continued to evolve from awareness to actually programs, processes, building it into our talent selection process, and building it into our performance review process. So for us, diversity, equity, and inclusion is a way we unlock our employees' potential. It's a way we unlock our organization's potential. And honestly, Craig, it is just what we do and the way we do business. It's an integral part of who we are and our culture at Atcore.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I just think it's one of those things. It's just the right thing to do, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, more than checking boxes or making sure, that you have the right balance. It's
Right.
just simply the right thing to do, and you can tell that, from the top down. But hey, look, you just said something, and I know that people that are listening to this podcast may be driving or working.
Mm-hmm.
You said something that really triggered me, and I love things that have little hooks to them. And I thought it was fantastic. The 4 C's. You don't have to go through them again, but just tell me what they were for our listeners.
Okay. Content, consistency, cadence, carry.
Got it. Content, consistent. No, that's not
Consistency,
consistency
cadence,
and
carry.
carry. Those are fantastic. I love those. But Angel, for people that are listening, that I always like to give our audience something they can take with them. And
Mm-hmm.
when we're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, how do organizations get that right, or do we ever get it right? Is it an ongoing journey? I mean, what would you say to our listeners?
Well, I think that diversity, equity, and inclusion, just like anything else, is always an ongoing journey. I think everything we do is always an ongoing journey. And here's why, Craig. There is no such thing as perfection. We're
Right.
not perfect. We'll never be perfect. So no matter how good we are, we can always be better. So no matter what our initiative is, no matter what we're driving for, When we begin to think we are perfect, then we become complacent and we really start the degradation process, right?
Sure. Sure.
So I believe it's always going to be a journey. I think that as long as we are doing the right things for the right reasons, we're focusing on all of our employees, we're allowing all of our employees to bring their unique individual selves and characteristics and experiences to work, allowing them to have input with those characteristics, collaborating with those characteristics. It is going to unlock their individual potential, and ultimately it's going to unlock the organization's potential. And I think that's how we do diversity, equity, and inclusion correctly. But I think it will always be in a journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you celebrate this? I mean, is it something that organizations celebrate their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion? I mean, do you do it just internally, or do you celebrate it to your external audience?
Yeah, Craig, that's interesting. I think it's how you define celebrate,
Right.
right? So from an internal perspective, we are consistently creating awareness. We are consistently celebrating um, our diverse workforce, right? Whether it be Black History Month, Pride Week, Ramadan, Easter, some of the most recent ones that we've celebrated internally and externally. Um, but I think from an external standpoint, and I think for our employees, where we really get the recognition is when we are recognized externally, as we have been here recently, selected a great place to work, selected as a top workplace. We received a very solid score on the Corporate Equality Index score of an 85 our first year, which is actually a really good score.
Yep.
So I think it's the external recognition that lets us and our employees know that we're doing the right things for the right reason. And that's how we celebrate. So when we celebrate by recognition, but we also celebrate internally when we receive those rewards. Our employees get, swag, and
Yeah,
it's
right.
a great time to get recognition.
Yeah, that's great, Angel. Look, when Jay and I opened the show, we were kind of poking fun a little bit about being called into the HR office. So I want to end on this one question. So what has been your best HR complaint?
Yeah. It's interesting that you would ask that, because it's funny. In the years that I've been with HR, been in HR, you get all kinds of HR. I'm going to call them complaints or what have you. But really, I don't look at them as complaints, simply because I look at them as concerns. I think that HR should always have an open door. We are both a business advocate, but we are also the employee's advocate, and the employee is our customer. So it's important that we have an open door and we listen to our customer and we understand their needs and their concerns, and also the things that excite them and the things that motivate them, because it's not always complaints when it comes in to HR. It's often can be suggestions and things of that nature. So I think it's very important to hear their voice, and let them talk about the things that they feel are important to talk about with their advocate, because as HR professionals, we are the advocate. But when, as I alluded to earlier, when you guys were joking and poking at HR, I will tell you that is not what HR is at Atkore. At HR at Atkore, we are partners. And we're not the police. We are not the principal's office. We are partners. And our responsibility, and I tell this to all of my HR team, our responsibility is to know our business, understand our business, and partner with our businesses to help them reach their business goals. So we develop and execute people strategies that align with our business's business strategies, and we enable them and support them in reaching their business goals. And that's our responsibility. It's not about being a principal. It's not about being a policeman. It is about being a true business partner. And that's really what we strive for at Atkore, is true business partnership.
Well, I can second that because I've seen it firsthand. And you handle that question just like an HR pro. I mean, look, I was digging for a funny story or a little bit of dirt, and you just turned it right around and made it the perfect quintessential answer for HR. And man, I love you, Angel. You're always welcome on this show anytime. I definitely want to have you back because there's so much more for us to discuss. But hey, before we jump off real quick, you guys had a really big day just a few days ago, right? I think Jay even has a clip of it here. Tell us about that.
Yes. Yes, we did. On Monday, we, Atkore, got to ring the closing bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It was unbelievable. It was an incredible experience. It's one that not a lot of people get to do. It's a moment in time I will never forget. And, you know, our success, Atkore's success, and having the ability to do that, again, we owe it all to our Atkore employees. It is our employees every day striving to meet the needs of the customer and be the customer's first choice that allows us to have the opportunity to ring that closing bell. So it was just incredible.
Well, hey, thank you for being here, Angel. And look, let me just be one of the people that just kind of sing your praises and say, if you are looking for a great place to work, a great opportunity, a great organization to be a part of, you should definitely reach out to Angel and her organization, Atkore Incorporated. They are a great bunch of folks, and we just really appreciate you and working with you. And so, Angel, as I said, thanks again for being here. I know you're a busy person. Thanks for giving us a little bit of your time today, and I'm definitely going to have you back at some point. You take care. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you, Craig. Anytime, I'd love to join you, and thank you. Have a good day.
You too. And hey, before we say goodbye, I want to send out a special thanks to our producer, Jay Gates. Jay, thanks so much. And the rest of our DSS Plus team who made this podcast possible. If you found the information and insights of this podcast helpful, well, please share it with others who could benefit. And don't forget to subscribe to our weekly podcast wherever you find your podcast. We also want to thank our sponsors, DSS Plus and DSS Learning and Development, where you can find award-winning safety and training content, along with e-learning, branding and communication experts, and so much more. Just go to consultdss.com. That's consultdss.com or dsslearning.com. I'm Craig Sexton, and that's how the story was told to me, and now it's been told to you from the heart.